Mike. Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Looks like that's Noel. You might be muted. I don't know. I'm hearing some background noise, but I'm not hearing you. Mike Bachman, can you say something? Oh, is that Mike or Noel?
That was Mike.
That was Mike. Oh, now I can hear you both. Good. Cool.
Yep.
Great.
I've almost forgotten what you really look like. I think this is what you look like now. It's been so long. How are things?
Yeah, it's great to see you. Good. A lot of work. Yeah, pretty busy.
So Noel, is there a lot of background noise happening behind you, coming through your?
Let me see. I have to take off my noise
At the beginning of September.
Ah, okay. On point, Pablo. Come on over here, and you too, Greg. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there's our cameraman, Mike. I'm hearing you, Matt, but I don't see you anywhere. Are you in the theater with your amplified voice?
Well, you might just want to mute, just so we don't have that coming in.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Great, thank you.
Yes, Bill. Hi, Bill.
Oh.
Billy Bang
hey,
Bang.
man.
How's it going, man? Ooh, look
yeah,
at you.
Awesome, man.
Look at you. You've
well,
been working
I changed
out,
my clothes.
Dude.
Yeah, every once in a while. Yeah, I kind of buffed up a little bit.
There we go. That's better.
Bill Gibson, this is...
hey, Greg.
This is Pablo Hoffman. Pablo, this is Bill Gibson. He's on the AES with us. Pablo's at the Facebook
Bill.
Reality Labs.
Just
He's
a
spatial audio specialist. I don't know how is that correct? Is that?
Yeah, I'm a research scientist at Facebook Reality Lab.
Cool. Very cool. I don't have any hands where I wave to you.
Yeah, we're in 2D mode. So you've got the Quest, right, Pablo?
Yeah, I'm using the Quest.
So I'm wondering where Matt is. I'm going to go on in here and see if I can find him. Matt?
Go check it out too.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Oh, you have amplified my voice on. That's what it is. Okay.
I do. Sorry.
All right. No, that's all right. You should do that. I just kept hearing you out there, and I was like, what's going on?
I actually had placed my avatar in here before the Zoom meeting.
Ah, okay. There we go. My voice is amplified. All right.
Good. We've got a few bodies in here.
Yeah, we got some people.
Hey, Pablo. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Are you in on your Quest?
I'm on my Quest. That's
I can see your hands moving. That's good.
Hey.
Cool.
Hey, Greg.
Oh, and everybody, in case you're new to this space, make friends. If you hover over somebody, add them as a friend. It's really great because then whenever you're in alt space at the same time, they'll show up on your friends list and you can just go to wherever they are. It's an easy way to navigate around. So at the conference, we befriended sort of everybody. So now I've got like 150 friends in alt space. It's a nice way of getting around.
Oh, I see. And if there's a check.
There's Steve. Hey, Steve Turnage.
Yes, hi there.
And there's Jess. Hi, Jess.
Hi, how's
And
it
is
going?
it Noel that
Good.
Hey,
How are
welcome.
you?
Welcome back.
Great, thanks.
You're looking good. You're so stylish, man. I just look at you got cool duds.
Thanks.
I like the
I
hat.
wore the same thing to Burning Man. It works for both.
It's a nice, yeah. How long did it take you to customize your avatar to look like that?
Oh, I don't know. I was on a creative whim one night. I think I
Uh-huh.
probably spent half hour or so.
Yeah, no.
So,
Well, you can tell
how's it
because
going,
you don't
How
look
you doing, man?
templatized. You look
Pretty well,
unique, and
thanks.
it's a cool
Lawrence-
look.
Lawrence is
Anyway,
the
welcome.
one allowed.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Have a
So-
seat. Back
turn your back
up
to
into
him.
the chair.
Yeah,
It's
guys,
the
go ahead and have a
program
seat.
Starting at 6:30
Please
for the
turn around. Have a seat.
Yeah, I think that was our target, was roughly 6:30,
You go
but
back.
we might start a little before that since we're all.
There you are. Whoops. You're on
Well,
top.
let's give people a
Okay.
chance to show up. Maybe some of them might need a little more time.
And
I'm gonna
Lawrence,
go
you're
out
on
to-
megaphone, right?
I am. Do you
Yeah.
want me not to be?
Well, we can't really have our conversations if you're talking to us all around.
Yeah, shut up, Lawrence. Come on.
What the? There we go.
Hey, we've
Just
been
for the
friends-
time being.
Thank you for the
Steve,
thank you
we've
for
been
the
friends
gentle
for 3
reminder.
days.
I just,
Yeah,
I
man.
just went off megaphone.
Happily so. Do you want to? You know how to move around, right? You want to go to the balcony? Let's go to the balcony.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's up there.
All right. Well, I'm just walking through you. I think that's impolite, but I did it.
Did you make it?
Hey. Through you. I
Hello.
think that's impolite, but I did it.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
I'm Pablo.
Good.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Pablo.
Yeah, who said
Hello.
that?
I'm Jess.
I'm
Nice to meet
here
you.
behind you.
Hi, Jess.
Behind you. I'm
Hi.
on the balcony.
Hi.
How are you? How are you doing? Are you on
Look
the
this way.
Hey, Pablo.
No, you're not on the
Oh,
balcony.
see,
You're in the
I'm right
last
in the middle
row.
of you.
Yep,
Hi,
I
Jess.
got
Well,
the,
turn around.
How are you doing? Are you on
There
the
you go.
balcony?
Your head's.
Close
No,
down.
you're not on the balcony. You're in the last row.
I'm
behind you again.
Okay.
Still. Oh, turn
Ah.
around. Look, there we are.
Oh,
There you go.
Hey.
Your head's.
that's
It's the balcony.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Get over there.
Portal. I guess you might not be able to portal.
Oh,
So
there
there
you
you
go.
go. You might
tunnel?
It's the balcony. Sorry.
You're
Yeah.
ahead of me.
Portal.
Is it just that
Yeah.
one
Well, you
portal?
might not be there
Hey, you
portal.
just
We're
came
really
over.
excited about.
Yeah.
about
It's
the-
the balcony. So there's a.
Bringing
I
it-
don't know if you
No.
can
Bringing it all
portal.
to
It's
virtual
I
reality.
can make a.
You know, we felt
No.
we
Blue.
felt like I mean the
And then I
conference
can
about
move. So
audio
now
for
I'm
virtual
behind-
reality.
I'm on
So
Hello?
I'm on the balcony.
we have to do something around that
Stop that.
topic.
Okay.
Hey, Greg. Sorry.
Here I am.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Hey,
how's it
Hey, you-
going?
This is
It is
this is the torture of tortures. You landed right in the middle of the post, man. That's gotta hurt.
I'm in the trailer,
Oh,
and
no.
It's raining, and
Yeah, this
so
is
it's pretty loud.
pretty weird. I
So,
think we're quite.
at least
We're
that's
not
what,
quite safe.
Hey, Mike.
Somebody else said that it's pretty loud
Hey, Mike.
on my
You're,
mic.
Yeah, we got-
you must be the one that's really making this all happen because when I see you, you're just really
You're at
you're
DigiCon,
active. You know.
I had a lot of colleagues
Right.
attending
That's
the
right.
conference.
So
I'm gonna go
I know
outside
you
then.
guys had a lot of,
Very
good
cool.
it's weird.
feedback.
Are you hearing a
And
bunch of people
what it
talking?
worked, what it didn't work as much.
Yeah.
That's
and,
fun.
you
Yeah,
know,
there's
how
there's
things
people in
being,
this room talking.
how the
Okay.
experience can
It's
be
just
improved.
weird because they feel like they're
Cool.
right next to us.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, well,
I'm
You gotta
excited
go
to
old
see
school.
what
And
it
it's-
remind-
sounds like.
So
you're
I'm at
definitely
Microsoft, so I'm in the mixed reality team, and
Oh,
so
Yeah.
I'm a little bit
Right.
connected to
Do you work
Altspace.
with
Uh-huh.
audio for
and-
VR or
Yeah, I
do
think that
something different?
Altspace audio
So I'm a
could
live sound
be a little bit
engineer
better than
and
it
tour
is.
manager,
Of course,
Hi,
for
Bill.
Audio
since
Engineering
Who said that?
Society,
shut down,
Behind you.
Mhm.
We all
It's
kind of key
the other
in on
behind
that, but
I'm
Right here.
actually
Right.
pursuing,
it works pretty well if
doing a
you
boot camp
like
later
if you
this
move
We're
into
really
the
looking
lobby
forward
or
to when
whatever.
you get-
Like if you
see
get
if we
further
go over
away,
there.
because
things
I do
attenuate
more
quite a bit.
of
Yeah.
spatial
But,
audio for
um,
VR. 'Cause I think
but
there's
yeah,
way
there's
to
a lot
tie
of bleed through.
music into
Then
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see some people moving
it's
away.
It's like
now.
I see all
Yeah.
these things
They're
starting
like
to happen.
Pablo
Very
and-
exciting
them
what's
so much.
happening
and
with you
Jess
guys
are
and
still
Kratos.
pretty loud.
I think that's
But if we went,
Yep, that's the idea.
definitely,
You know,
that's
And
what
when
I
you
was
get your
saying.
head
if we went away,
6 months
it
ago,
would
like,
it would
there is
distance
I come here to
distant
know,
attenu
product.
distance
Maybe this
attenuate,
now,
and then we'd
even
Yeah.
we'd be
outside
fine.
these events. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
But it's still
you're
pretty loud.
understanding
Do it.
more on just where all the technology and
and-
everything's at.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah, I want to get in
realizing.
there and like,
Sorry.
you know,
No,
help
hang on
be
one
that
second.
Yeah.
bridge.
Right?
I think it's cool.
Hygiene.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Really
And then you go
exciting.
into some really interesting.
You know, one
places,
thing I
actually.
haven't done in
So,
VR, it's actually
yeah,
attending a
it's-
concert.
It's like the whole world, especially since
Yeah.
the Burning
That's
Man
probably
got in.
Something I should try soon.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they've had Reggie Watts
Yeah.
do concerts in here in Altspace, and I didn't get to any of them, but Lawrence has been to a few of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Sorry about that. I had a.
Yeah, I recall
saw-
Lawrence talking a lot about
had
the
Zoom
yeah,
audio
concert
going at the
experience
same
in
time.
VR.
The name, sure.
So I was
yeah.
I was hearing
We should try
I
it.
was hearing the sound from the Zoom meeting because
Absolutely.
I'm actually trying to monitor both
Hey, Jess.
meetings.
How's
Oh,
it
the
going?
Zoom and the
Yeah,
Altspace.
and I
Oh,
just
that's
didn't realize.
interesting.
Like I was like,
do we do
so that was why I was like, man, it
Hey.
just sounds like there's people right
Yeah.
next to us talking.
Yeah, have you met
Yeah,
Pablo?
it was
Dan?
just
Yeah,
Zoom.
how
are
of course
you?
have.
Yeah.
Sorry
Good
about
to
that.
meet you.
Wow.
Nice to meet you.
So are you on a VR headset or are you
Yeah,
on
we
your
are.
desktop?
No, I am just doing 2D mode.
Yeah, so am I.
What's that?
What, Matt?
Oh, I was
Yeah.
wondering
Yeah,
if
for
So
the
did you
conference-
set
Pablo
up
you met at
the
ABAR.
conference at all, or
I don't think so.
No.
No,
Yeah,
we didn't.
Pablo
We
was-
didn't
So
meet.
I was
meeting
involved
yet.
with
was
it
the
though.
page
Yeah,
share.
okay, so that's
In
great.
that I helped as a volunteer
Pablo's
do
right.
live streams.
He was the papers
Um,
chair.
Oh,
So I was
yeah.
doing
So
streaming
he
on
organized the
YouTube,
paper
but then I
submissions and
also,
approvals and
Yeah.
all that,
I'm a
the
professor at
in the
DigiPen, but I'm
night,
also
the entire
the
process.
studio
Yeah.
manager there. And one of the things that I do
Their currency.
is I help manage a team of employees that,
Okay.
you know, back when we were,
that happened
you know, meeting every day physically, we did
Hi,
things
Mike.
like, we would have
I just came by to say hi.
DigiPen
And thanks again for
myself and my
doing the
team
job you're
helped
doing.
set up
It's
a
just so
PA,
great to make this
that kind
happen.
of
So
stuff. We,
here we go.
so we do like
Awesome.
PA kinds of
Great.
setups, but that team has kind of moved into a virtual.
I saw you got your wise license, right?
lead that team.
I'm not
yeah, good.
And
Okay.
so I was involved with
So what do you think, Matt? Should we get rolling?
They probably are.
I was-
we probably should.
helping and working.
Yeah, I
with
was
that
working
team.
with the guys out in the lobby, getting them, doing the thing with the mic,
Yeah.
getting people
That's great.
wired up.
You're talking about, like,
So the
some
guy
of the
BT
events
here,
that happen at
I think he's right
DigiPen
behind me.
campus,
looks
where
like I'm
you bring
gonna
in
have
guest
to
he's
speakers,
on a Mac,
my image
you know,
and he has a good
Oh, right.
microphone with an Apollo
Those are the types of things
use,
that you
audio
manage.
interface, but
Yeah, we do
it's not
that,
being
and we also
recognized. And I
do,
just said the fact that your Mac
concerts.
client is
So we
working
have,
at all
like,
is
a
cause
choir,
for
we have,
celebration.
a
And
jazz
when he
band,
unmutes, he can be heard, so he'll be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
participate.
a
So
student jazz band.
yeah, I
that
think
we
maybe
do-
we should just
that
get
we
on
do
down
a
there
lot
and
of
start.
Concerts on
Good.
campus.
Let's do it.
Mike
I'm
is
gonna hop
streaming
down
here,
there.
and
So
Mike-
my team would-
I haven't checked the
band that
YouTube
played
stream,
at
but I
the,
think I'm not going to. I don't want to get
the
confused.
winery, but the old schoolhouse
I'm waving at you.
So
last time.
okay, yeah, you were at that event. So yeah,
Yeah.
myself and my one of my employees were running the sound for that, and that was our
I disapprove.
that was our faculty jazz ensemble that played that.
I ended
So
up
that was not
after
that
Let's
was
go
not the
take our
student
seats.
ensemble,
Immersion
but-
killing.
Looks like they're
Saturday,
starting.
Not- I'm-
caught
I
up
just-
I'm
with
actually
on
interested
Alt
in.
Space. It was a recording
Like, I'm
of
not
it.
a,
Back.
Now that I'm
I'm not
thinking
somebody
about
who
it,
has
like,
a lot of
Okay, well,
experience
shall I
in
stand
running
over
sound.
where I was going to be?
Uh-huh.
But,
and we'll just start.
live stream
I'm
to
curious
like,
because,
we're doing
amplify
today,
you know,
our
Alt Space is
and
a potentially a
brought back
platform
into
where
their
all or
world
not,
in
like,
Alt Space.
struggling
They had
artists
Alt
could
behind them, and they
come
passed
congregate
Yeah.
like
yeah.
and
they
do
put the Alt Space world
concerts
on
Yeah.
where
Right.
you know, just like
Yeah.
a
so you can see the person.
you know, just like a
We can
conference,
just
you
do
can
all
do
that.
concerts
Via
in Alt
YouTube
Space
in the
as
world.
long
Maybe
as
you can
the
remember to do that.
audio reproduction
Yeah.
is
Wow.
you know good enough
So
such
it was
that
just a
it
solo
doesn't
gal with
kind of
her-
degrade.
Right,
the
I'm
experience.
amplified. I'm going to make an announcement. We'll get
Um,
started.
So I'd be
Yeah.
interested in picking your brain about how you think that that would be possible.
Lawrence big in my ear.
Yep.
For sure, I'm gonna add you as a friend.
Take our
Yeah,
seats.
sounds
now.
great.
Hi, Jess.
And then
Yeah, please go ahead and find a seat.
in this one.
and then if you want to talk more, also we could do that via email. It looks like they're getting ready to start. So
Sounds good.
let's
I'm gonna
chat.
mute
Let's
myself.
chat more, okay?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, folks. Well, Matt, I guess we're ready to begin.
I think so.
So thank you all for coming. The fact that we have as many of you as we do here, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's hard to get people to do all of the gyrations that it takes to, just to get into the space. I hope that for those of you who haven't been in Alt Space before, that by the end of the evening you will perhaps be converts like Matt and I became in using this technology just as a partly just to get us through these crazy pandemic times where we're all isolated, but particularly to have an experience like this with many people in a single space. So I have to face the screen here because they just changed the way that the slides are advanced. So I have to face this way. And Matt, I'm going to let you just take it away, and I'll just tell me when you want me to advance slides.
Sure. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for being here, and hello to everybody who's seeing this on the live stream.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about the conference, AVAR 2020. How many in the audience were at AVAR 2020? I think probably most of them. You see the hand raises.
Oh, look
You
at
can
that.
probably see those in the live stream, or somebody just clapping, etc. Yeah, so it's quite a few people here. Most people here were actually at the conference. So as I was just saying in the Zoom meeting, we decided to do this in AltSpace VR. In fact, we might as well start into the next slide. The Zoom meeting, talking about a little bit about AltSpace VR. You notice that we're turning around and looking at the slides because we actually can't see them on our on another device like you would normally in real life. That wasn't the case at AVAR. We could actually see the slides and look at the audience at the same time, and it was one of the things that we spent a lot of time with all of the presenters. Literally months we spent doing this, having meetings with the
coaching them
presenters.
into how to make it work.
How to make it work either with an in-VR browser that was invisible to everybody else, or to have it on a laptop beside their main screen that they're looking at for AltSpace, or even actually wearing a VR headset and using the in-VR browser. So it was quite a process. What happened now, that was using slides.com, which was their main, AltSpace VR's main slide deck, what would you call it, environment.
Yeah, sort of a service, a browser-based service that you'd upload PDFs to, and then they would broadcast into this space. And it had features that now that they're gone, we miss because now we're using JSON scripts.
Yeah, so we're using this kind of multimedia device now, which is not really, you can't start with a slide deck. You have to actually upload a bunch of pictures and videos. It's quite tedious, but at least it's an intermediate stage for AltSpace. Hopefully in a month or two, they will graduate finally to real screen sharing in AltSpace VR, where then you can literally share any app that you have running on your screen. But
that's secret information, by the way. So they haven't. Well, they've said that they're working toward it, but it's not officially announced. So.
Well, so AltSpace started as a social VR platform in 2015, as you can see up there. Ran out of funding pretty much July 2017. Then it was purchased by Microsoft in October 2017. So that's where we are today. When Lawrence and I first came in here, my heart kind of sank because I thought, okay, we've been suggested to do a conference in here, and I looked around and saw the goofy cartoonish things, and I thought.
And they were worse then. Remember, they weren't these cool avatars we have now. They were these much cruder, even more goofy avatars.
Yeah, and me being an academic and thinking of my colleagues and other people actually coming in here, I just thought this is ridiculous. There's no way anyone's going to take this seriously or have any use for this space. So we poked around a little bit, why don't you jump a few slides, Lawrence? So we thought, well, maybe this is not even appropriate for the research community that we're targeting for the conference. But we decided to adopt it, and I'll just give a preview of that. I think the moment that I thought this is really usable and this is really doable, and it had an attractive feature, was when we started to appreciate the very basic 3D audio in this space, which is distance attenuation as you move away from a source who's speaking. That doesn't work for Lawrence and I right now because we've actually overruled it with what's called the megaphone. We're all both amplified inside the space, but for chatting inside a space, which we'll practice more in AVAR lobby, as you move away from a speaker, it gets quieter. And also, as you turn your head to side, the audio pans. And just with those two very basic features, we really became convinced that this could be a hit and could work. Lawrence, why don't you say a few things?
Everything he said. It turned out to be a great way to do an online conference. As we found that we had to individually train the people who were going to participate because it wasn't obvious. Things with some of you, maybe when you entered the space tonight, I was sort of talking to you about your microphone setup or your headphone setup or your settings. So we had to do this with dozens and dozens and dozens of presenters. And but once we got the hang of it, and then once the concert ran, it really did. We were very, very pleased that we had sort of discovered something new for us, which was basically a whole new way of meeting online.
I'm going to tell a few people who are in 2D mode, which I think is most people here, that if you right-click, hold, and then scroll the mouse wheel, you can zoom in and out. And so, for instance, you could zoom into that fabulous picture up there in the top right corner, and you can get a nice, clear view of the picture. Maybe our live streamer will do that for us, Mike. Zoom into the picture for a second and then go back out. In any case, that's yours truly on the right. That's myself, Matt Clausen on the right, and then in the center is Aaron Berkson, who was one of our workshops presenters, and on the left is another workshops presenter,
Andrew Champlin.
Andrew Champlin from Vive, and both Andrew and Aaron are in different VR headsets. Andrew's in a Vive, of course, and then Aaron Berkson is in an Valve Index headset. And you can see their arms are kind of floating around a little bit, and that's typical of when you see somebody in one of those VR headsets. They have actual hand movements, which we don't have. Lawrence and I are both in 2D mode right now.
But if
you
you look
see in the front row here,
there's Dan Mortensen has hands, Jess has hands, and Steve Turnage there, and Pablo Hoffman there.
These are that's 5 of them there.
Yeah, they're almost a majority. And we've found that the gestural ability really increases communications. It's not just a tagline. It really makes a difference. For Matt and me running the conference, we became somewhat addicted to 2D mode because it allowed us to have multiple computers and multiple screens doing 14 things at once, which we kind of had to do just to run the conference. But
it also made it actually possible to be online for like 12 hours in one day. There was no way we could have done it for even 4 hours in a headset, I don't think.
True. Among the things that we really were just putting on our bullet points here about things that we found impressed by the modality, if you notion of being in a 3D environment with avatars, was that natural communication, natural conversation, and I think you guys got a little taste of it before we started the presentation part here, when you're all just standing in the bleachers and talking to each other. And I was sort of struck by how quickly all of you, although many of you, since you've spent time here already, just naturally started behaving the way you would if you were with, colleagues in a room and you wanted to talk. So people start talking, and this is not possible. We haven't found this is possible, not possible in a Zoom meeting. Another thing we found. Oh, Matt, why don't you talk a little bit about ICASP? Because you attended that.
I attended just briefly. Actually, another person who's here, Pablo. Why don't you say hi for a second, Pablo? There he is.
Hey there.
In the back. Yeah, Pablo was for AVAR. He was the papers chair, so he organized the entire paper process, all of the reviewing of all the papers and acceptance and rejection and all that. So, but he was also at ICASP, right? And I think we talked about that.
That's right.
Pablo, right? Yeah, we both were struck by how it's a fabulous world-class conference on what is the whole acronym? It's International Conference on Acoustics, Audio, and Signal Processing. Did I get that right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fabulous conference. But this time around in May of 2020, it was a series of videos basically, and they did have some chat, which was over text, but it was all very beautifully recorded and presented, but absolutely lacked sort of the human element, the human interaction. And that's pretty much with anyone else who had been there who I talked to said, yes, it was fabulous content, but they really missed just hanging out and chatting with their colleagues. So
right.
That was something that really kind of took us by surprise. We thought it was possible, but we were very surprised how well it worked inside of Old Space.
So we did have some technical challenges.
Oh, just a couple.
One or two. The thing we talked about a bit ago, slides.com, that was all we knew. We're using these new tools. They said use slides.com, so we did it. But it was cumbersome, and it was hard, and it had issues. The other big technical challenge were just the audio challenges that were presented by people coming into the space, and the type of mic they were using, whether or not they were using speakers or headphones. And we found very quickly, as I think I did with one or two of you out in the patio before the meeting started, where because of the latency, it's absolutely essential if you're in 2D mode like many of us are, that you have headphones. And it's better to have a proper microphone that you've got some proximity that you can use, as opposed to people came in just wanting to use their laptop, like, you know, the built-in laptop mic and speakers, or a pair of earbuds. And those presented major challenges to us. Now, everybody on an actual VR hardware, like we have Quest users here, I think most of you are on Quest, or any of the VR headsets, they have built-in microphones and some kind of either extra aural speakers or headphones. So we had to walk people through that process. And in fact, I learned late in the conference that the Quest has, you Quest users probably all know this, but you have three possible settings on your microphone, whether or not you can have your audio be, I think webcam is one mode, and one mode is something about speech capture. I can't remember what it is, but there's only one of the three modes that actually works properly for this environment, and that's the one where it's using its noise cancellation, and it's the speaker array, the microphone array is actually quite directional, and it doesn't pick up any signal from your headphones. So those were some of the technical challenges that we had.
I want to jump in on this one. One of our favorite diagnostic tools was, this was really quite hilarious, because we would be helping, as Lawrence was explaining, help various people out with their mics and so on. And once in a while, there'd be multiple people in the room, and suddenly you would hear an echo, and you'd like to know where it was coming from. And basically, of course, if somebody is not using headphones, then you get this terrible feedback loop, and
with a delay.
Audio with a delay, so essentially the way we diagnosed it, we would look at people as we're speaking, and if we would see someone's mouth moving with our words coming back at us, then we would know that person was swallowing our words and spitting them back out into the environment at us. And it was really quite hilarious, but really
it was funny.
Also a very good diagnostic tool to find where those echoes were coming from. One of the fun things we did with these technical challenges.
So what was it? 1 or 2 months of preparation with presenters in AltSpace? It felt more like 3, but maybe it was only 1 or 2 months. Yeah, it was a lot of time.
I'll just kind of throw in something that's coming in other slides too. But as we worked with these people, something happened which never happens in preparing for a kind of a serious sort of semi-academic conference like this, and that is, you would never get together with some of the speakers who mostly have PhDs and are pretty serious people, and come into a room and start messing around with things and just sort of laughing and having a lot of fun. These guys would come in here, they would start throwing the microphone around because they'd try to pick it up and drop it, and then they'd throw it, just this little prop beside Lawrence on the podium. They would do all
the
sorts
laser
of goofy
pointer.
things.
The
yeah,
laser
the laser
pointer.
And we had these people like literally giggling and just sort of having a goofy time in the space playing as they're trying to sort of get used to things, trying to overcome various technical issues, and at the same time practice their talk, practice with the InVR browser that keeps disappearing on them, and it was really it became not just technically challenging, but really quite fun, actually, working with these people.
Plus, we got to know them much better than, we didn't have just the 3 days of the conference to know them. We had this 2 months of prep time.
Yeah, there were some teams of presenters that we probably must have spent 4 to 6 hours in here. But
but even that was, we found out that, again, the space and partly the volume attenuation and panning all became this catalyst for what we knew we wanted, what we got out of AVAR 2018, which was that real genuine human interaction with people. Let's see.
We covered that one already.
Okay, well, let's just keep going then.
Yeah.
What a great presentation. Who wrote this? This is brilliant. Surprising effectiveness of basic 3D audio in this space. Yeah, we were kind of talking about that. And really, it's not that complicated. It is basic panning and attenuation. So left, right, and then get quieter when you get further away. And we've probably said it too many times now. We're just struck with what an impact that has on communication in a digital space. So day one, we kind of had a train wreck, and it was actually it was probably as much my fault as it was AltSpace fault. I'll just mention briefly that these rooms have a certain capacity based on performance. Because if you think of what's going on technically, even though it's avatars and not live video, there's quite a bit of back and forth with data. And so these rooms have a certain capacity, and we were told for this room in particular, which is the same room that we used for our keynote presentations and the papers and workshops, was 30 people. And we were expecting, somewhere around 200 people for the conference. So they use a feature called Front Row, which does clones the room unbeknownst to the people in it. So when you enter the space, you see the same thing that everybody in each of the cloned rooms sees, and the presenters, in this case me and Matt, we would appear in all of the rooms, even though for us it just feels like we're in one room. So it's a little bit of a Twilight Zone mind-bending
and we were
concept to begin with.
We were supposed to keep it to 30 people per room.
Which is a hard limit.
Room. Yeah, and then we had 10 of those rooms, so we had sort of a capacity of 300 people for the conference, and we did have about that many registered. Yeah.
But what happened on day one was that I had, if you see these glorious graphics behind Matt there on the wall, those are our two Emerald sponsors, which was Valve Corporation and Facebook Reality Labs. Very graciously, they were Emerald sponsors both for AVAR 2018 and for 2020. And so we said, well, we're going to put your logos up on the wall. And to do that, that's a bit of a customization that I had to do to what's called the foundational world that the space is built on. And in doing so, the days leading up to the conference, I somehow failed to re-enable the panel room for Front Row. So when the day one came of the plenary panel discussion right after the keynote, right, Matt, and people couldn't get into the room. It was a train wreck. It was pretty.
Well, the funny thing was they got over to the room, but it wasn't implementing Front Row. So everybody just packed into one room. And so it was actually kind of fun because that was the only time during the conference that we could see one of these rooms actually filled up.
Actually full of people.
Yeah, it was kind of exciting, but we had to turn them all back around and go back to a different presentation space instead of the panel discussion room, so that we could actually conduct the panel on stage. And we kind of got over that, and there were a few other hiccups, but basically
we got it working.
Yeah, we got stuff working. And that was one thing that everybody, instead of kind of throwing up their hands and saying, I can't take it.
I want my money back.
Right. They were all saying how wonderful it was that we seemed to have a workaround for everything. Which of course we had lots of workarounds in our pocket after doing this for 2 to 3 months. So that was fine.
So that was kind of the big dip at the beginning of the hero's journey. And then day two, recovery. We had this great panel discussion with Valve's audio team. This is headed by Emily Ridgway, and she's the one who specifically designed the extraoral speakers on the Valve Index. And it was just a fabulous panel discussion. And we wanted to show you a little peek of what that was actually right. So I want to preface this with a meta comment. One of the technical challenges we had at the conference was the way that AltSpace handled playing videos in a presentation. Those were all handled through slides.com, and it was kind of clumsy, and it wasn't very optimized apparently. But this, what you're seeing now, which is why I keep having to turn to control it. This is a JSON script for those of you who know what that is. So it's a different media presentation software tool, but the video that I'm about to show you, it's about a minute or two long, and it's the end of the Valve audio panel discussion. But you'll notice that it'll, watch, I'm going to jinx it. It's going to play seamlessly, and the audio will be seamless as well. Here we go.
We are actually a little bit post time. I would like to thank all of our panelists for coming and joining us. Please, everyone, applaud and love. Applause and love abound. We are actually at a coffee break. So your task right now, should you choose to accept it, is to stand up here from your computer, run to your kitchen, get some hot water and tea or coffee or maybe a little snack, and then please come join us back in the AVAR lobby. Hopefully our Valve speakers will be able to continue to join us there as well and continue the conversation. And we are on coffee break from now until 11:30. So thank you all, Valve speakers. joining us. Thanks so much to our Valve panelists and to Joy from Harman as well for joining us and having such a great conversation. And again, looking forward to seeing the rest of you around the rest of the AVAR conference.
So this is what I'm about to do. What we did many times at the conference. I would ask everybody, or Matt would ask everybody, who was able to see the video? So let me see a show of emojis for everybody who could see the video and for whom the audio was uncorrupted. I'm hoping to get 100% compliance here. Oh yeah.
Did anyone not see the video?
Did anyone not see the video or not hear the audio that came with the video both together and had it glitch or hiccup or anything? So this is inside baseball, but oh my gosh. That's just, it's, anyway, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I need to do that too. I need to go like this and then do this. Yeah, I got to do this because it makes me very happy. Okay, awesome. And then what we had was daily coffee breaks in between the events. We'd all go to people would just go to the DigiPen lobby where we're about to go and just hang out and have multiple random simultaneous conversations just like a real conference. And we had people saying exactly that. They would say, wow, this is like a real conference. And it gave us no end of pleasure. I'll go to the next slide here. Feedback ramped up is... Go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say that as far as those conversations go, it really was great seeing, people like Aaron McLaren of the audio engine developer for Epic, the Unreal audio engine, and coming back and chatting with people from Valve and saying, oh yeah, I haven't seen you guys in a while, and then starting up a conversation about something that they want to collaborate on, and it was just exactly what you'd want to see and be kind of rubbing shoulders with at a real conference, a conference in person. Those are the sorts of things that you're always looking forward to. So.
Right. So day 3 was Dr. Poppy Crum of Dolby Laboratories gave an amazing keynote that for me was just one of the real highlights of the conference on empathetic technology, and it was just extraordinary.
Can I say a few things about the lead up to that?
Please.
So Poppy Crum, we had asked her to give a keynote back in, I guess
January.
November.
Oh, November, right.
It was, or maybe it was January, sometime in the winter. Anyway, it was pre-pandemic. And yes, she had said yes, sounds interesting. And then by the time the pandemic hit, she was moving. She had all kinds of things in her life that was, they were definitely more important than communicating with conference preparation people. So she was kind of, hard to get a hold of, and to say the least. And in any case, she was the last person that we got into AltSpace VR before the conference. We had tried to do this with all of the speakers like a month ahead. And she was still entering AltSpace VR like 3 days before the conference started, and still kind of it takes a little bit conceptually to sort of wrap your brain around what it is you're actually going to do when you get here, sort of thing. And so the last few days were pretty much touch and go. But when she got in here, she was like probably one of the best performers in VR.
Total pro.
Of anyone.
Total pro.
Just a complete pro. She was concerned about every nuance of her microphone and everything, the communication with the audience. It was just absolutely stunning to see her at work here finally, and really quite gratifying, of course, that we never knew it was actually going to happen until the last minute.
I think we call that a nail biter. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Creative and goofy problem solving. Workarounds became a defining feature of this experience. Interesting about the whole notion of failure as being, essential to success. All of those problems really sort of, I would say, contributed to our experience that the thing was just a rip-snorting success because we were just overcoming problems every day.
Yeah, and I'll just add that was something that, of course, when you're in the thick of it, you're not thinking of it that way. You're thinking that these problems are things that I need to solve as quickly as possible,
right?
And get people moving forward so that they're not going to be complaining. But literally, the problem solving itself was one of the most sort of fun and crazy things that was going on, and people actually enjoyed it. They enjoyed watching us do it and helping out and everything.
Exactly. It was this real-time informality was sort of the way we were characterizing the experience of it, and also the tolerance that everybody seemed to bring to the experience, because everybody knew we were all dancing on the bleeding edge. And so it wasn't like, they paid their $600 and they flew to Redmond and they're staying in their nice hotel, and then they come to DigiPen. And when we did that in 2018, actually it was a success and everybody really liked it. But the expectations are that everything's gonna work, and then when things don't work, you're like, well, wait a minute, I paid for I mean, nobody said that, at least at our conference, or not much anyway. But that's, as a conference organizer, that's what you have to deal with. But this was, the expectation was like, is this gonna work at all? And it worked great, and so that really worked in our favor. Possible benefit. This presentation was the same presentation we gave to the DigiPen faculty at orientation last month. So we were kind of speculating on how this technology might be good for college classes, particularly small classes. Students are all on the same visual footing. I don't know if any of you are involved. Well, you're probably all doing Zoom conferences, but if anybody's involved with teaching over Zoom or Skype or Teams is quite challenging, and there are issues of privacy and issues of shyness, and whether or not people have their cameras turned on and whether they have their mics turned on, and accountability. Believe me, it's a rat's nest. And so we were thinking, well, gosh, this really solves a bunch of really nice issues, because you're actually all here and everybody's kind of on the same footing. You all have the same menu of customization for your avatar, so you can do a real number like, I got to call you out, Jess. I mean, Jess's avatar. Look at that hat. I mean, you can really take the time to make your characters look cool, or Steve's awesome jacket. And even if you just go with the default avatar, like more or less like I did, it's still, we're all kind of in the same on the same level. It isn't like I had some big budget to go to some fancy clothing store and buy a bunch of fancy clothes. So we take that away. That's sort of a leveling, if you will. Let me get my navigating here. Chat's where it at, real time. And by this we don't mean text chat. We mean actually talking to people naturally and informally. As teachers, we know that's a pretty important component of getting engagement in the classroom. People can speak naturally. That whole voice cancellation, or the ducking that happens in video conferencing, is kind of hard to deal with. Hey, Sally Kellaway, welcome, Sally. You made it. See, hey. I can tell Sally.
we know that avatar. Yeah.
Sally was our co-chair on the conference, our workshops chair.
Sally was
chair.
our workshops chair.
Workshops chair.
Who organized the workshop presentations and oversaw that whole process. I wanted to just say one thing about that last point. This was an odd thing, because when you go and meet people in a Zoom session, you know that you're sitting in your living room and you're looking at them sitting in their living room, and it certainly doesn't feel like when you finish the meeting, that you were there in their living room walking around, or you were together in a different room walking around and experiencing the space. But what we found, even in this goofy, cartoonish space, is we found that when we were here having conversations with people, we remembered those conversations and the space, and it was as if we had gone somewhere, and hung out with those people. Which is really quite remarkable. It had a completely different feeling than a flat screen meeting of teleconferencing meeting. It really did have that feeling of having been somewhere.
And just now I had the experience. I haven't seen Pablo Hoffman in a while. I haven't seen him in months and months, but we saw each other in this space for quite a bit over the last few months. And so just now when I saw Pablo on the patio, I'm like, oh, Pablo. He looks like Pablo. He sounds like Pablo. We're there on the patio again. It's like, oh, man, good. It's good to see you again. It's really, really very, very striking and unexpected reaction. So I think the point is that it seems to produce a physical memory. At least that's what has been our experience. I think we're about near the end of our presentation. Matt, why don't you talk about this slide here, because this is cool.
Yeah, Agnieszka Rogicka came to the conference, and she was here on the first day and gave a welcome to the attendees. And this was her reflection on the summer, and what she remembered was this was one of the biggest highlights for her in August, was coming to this conference. And we didn't really emphasize this, but having this conference, the topic, of course, is audio for virtual reality. And here we were inside virtual reality. So it really was kind of if there was any conference this summer that should have tried this, it was probably this one. So,
and we were really honored and pleased to see that the president of the AES put this out on their September newsletter. And there I just started laughing when I saw it come in my inbox and my email. It's like, oh, Matt, there's a picture of Matt. It's like, no, that's Matt's avatar. But for me now, this is, as far as I know, maybe Matt, you actually look like this now. I'm not sure anymore. But I know I look like that, so I got to change my sweater.
I've aged significantly since you last saw me.
Okay. And this is some email that we got after the conference.
Yeah, I just picked about 3 of these. Not to say that every email we got was complimentary. We got all kinds of complaints along the way, so I'm not trying to paint the wrong picture here. But what was this one? Still remembering the conversations they had, which is a mark of a good conference. So that was nice to see. People were really happy about that, and this was one of our workshops presenters. Lawrence, you like this one. Why don't you talk about this one?
Yeah, it's a little hard for me to read it from here. I just wanted to send a quick message, fully engaging, honestly, over past months. Oh, yeah. So, again, I know we're harping on a thing, but it because we organized an in-person conference in 2018 and then tried to do it again in 2020, we're thwarted by a pandemic and pushed through it anyway with a lot of help from a lot of people. That it's just amazing to me, and it really gave us hope. It gave me hope that even in under really trying conditions, that we can still have this thing that you get at a conference. The best thing that a good conference, you come away from it, if you've ever been to one, is the people you met. And even while they're great presentations, it's the time you went out and had the beer with somebody from Germany or Japan, and then you had that great conversation about Miles Davis at 11 p.m. right? I mean, that's what you go to a conference for, and we got a taste of that here, and obviously some of the people who were there felt the same. There's one more here. Matt, why don't you talk about this one?
This is one of the AES executive team members that they really wanted to come to the conference and asked us to just let this person in, even though I think the conference at that time was closed. She was really happy to get in here and talking about various people that she hung out with. And then finally she says the lobby was really something. I may never leave home again. So, a lot of fun.
And that's our presentation. Thank you very much for joining us, and for you folks watching on YouTube, thank you. I hope you're able to hear and see everything. Thank you all. It really is cool seeing the emojis. I've got to say, it's just a fun thing. So rather than hanging out here and talking, I'd like us to all go to the AVAR lobby, and I'm going to walk there so you can just follow me, because there's this cool teleporter right here by the coat room, and just follow me, and it's going to transport us straight to the AVAR lobby. You can also get there from your My Events page.
Can we just dive in, Lawrence? Or?
Yeah, just go ahead and step on into the teleporter. Right this way. There's room for one more. Head on in. Go ahead, Pablo. Hey, Sal. Yay.
Okay, let's go.
There he goes. Go ahead, Milan. We'll see you at DigiPen. Master Turnage.
Thanks, Lawrence.
I'll be right there. Good. I'm going to join you. I just want to make sure nobody gets left behind. All right, Mike, I'm going to go, and then I'll see you there.
Actually, there's like some UI bug that makes it incredibly difficult to mute and unmute, so I'm just gonna stay unmuted and everyone else can deal with it.
Well, that's the time. This is the time to be unmuted for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can hear you, Guel. How are you, Sal? How's Vancouver?
Hey, Pablo.
It's a little chilly because it's
Pablo.
raining, actually.
Yeah, here too. Here too. It's cold and wet here. It's cold
It's
and
almost
wet.
like summer's over.
And
I know. I could feel it in the air just before the rain hit, and it was just like my wife kept saying. She's like, "Can't you just tell it's fall?" And I'm like, "No." I was in denial.
Yeah.
And then today,
Millen?
it's
I
like,
was
Is it Millen?
I was hoping to
The
check
leaves
on
are starting. We're starting
how
to
are
change
you?
last week as well.
Hey, guys,
so I kind of
Yeah.
Pablo,
riding on
Where are you?
that.
you're on
Where are
the
you from?
megaphone, and you guys should take the conversation. Yeah, you are. Take the conversation
Awesome.
out
Welcome.
I don't
away
think
from the lobby.
anyone should-
Yeah,
thank you.
Are you part of this?
Let's go down the hall, guys.
Yeah.
I don't
this
think
world
I'm
There you
of,
go. You might just be
AR,
close.
VR,
I'm happy.
AVR,
All right.
all that.
Here we go.
Yeah,
So we're,
I don't know that anybody can be on megaphone without.
What's that?
I can't tell who's actually talking to me because we're all so close together.
Yeah. Well, let's spread out a little bit. Let's go back to the cafe
Let's
here.
go down the hallway. Let's.
Or maybe
You okay talking for a minute? Actually, everybody's leaving, so we could just stay here.
Are you?
we can just stay over
a
here.
developer then? Are you?
Yeah, so that's
I was-
Let's move
that's-
over in the
that's what
corner,
people
maybe.
suggest. Do you know Sal? I
Yeah.
think you guys know.
For audio?
I was thinking on
Yes.
We sort of maybe crossed paths at
on
the
checking
conference.
Right.
Briefly.
VR.
Yeah.
To start with, I know Lawrence has
I was
Oh,
going
I'm
to
looking
also
at your- I'm looking at your thing.
As
I
part
didn't
of
get
getting
notified.
more and more familiar with all space VR before the conference. So I think that would be the place that I will start looking.
All I ever see there are open mic type situations. I don't ever see any multiple performer.
I see. Okay.
That's not to say they don't exist, but when I look, that's all I see.
That's great. Yeah, a friend of mine does it. Immersive. Are you familiar with those guys? Immersive audio.
I've gone to
Immersive audio, yes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, they're doing some really cool stuff
okay,
too.
the-
But it's the time for that, you know. That's what. This is it.
He had a way to get his guitar.
So you see my name?
Yes, and I figured out the flight tool
Oh,
in
cool.
the items. Yeah.
Ah,
So I was
nice.
definitely using that to zoom around Burning Man and stuff. Pretty cool.
Right. So how was Burning Man? I poked in after it was over, and it was just kind of desolate and kind of weird. But so I wasn't really there while people were there. But you actually were there while where stuff was going on.
Yeah, I actually jumped in during Build Week and got in some production discussions and got on the Discord channel for production. So it was like being on a festival production channel, but it was all tech
Did
talk.
you help build something? Did they have you actually
Well,
do something to build it?
I am just a very beginner world builder. I don't know how to actually create my own code to
Sure.
build worlds, but I've just started with the kits that are available, and it's pretty cool.
she had a
Yeah.
great
Started-
presentation. She did a TTT presentation that I hope we can get on. We should get one of those for an AES meeting or something. It was fabulous. And I learned a lot of places. That Samskara place, I've taken people there all over the place. So I'll take you sometime, Lawrence, when you get in helmeted.
Get your audio working?
Yeah. I've got it. At some point, I'll get there, and it's hard after using the tools for so long in a certain way. It's like, well, it works fine, you know. But I know it's a different thing entirely.
It's like picking the
Actually,
guitar backwards instead of downstrokes to do upstrokes, and it's a completely difficult thing or a different tuning.
Right. Yeah.
At some point where you need to go back into Zoom, what's our
Yeah. Well,
structure?
let's see what Greg says. Hey, Greg.
Greg's not saying anything here.
Greg's mute.
Greg's not speaking to us.
Oh, okay. Well, Greg,
Yeah.
you can send me a message, Greg. Greg.
Yeah, Sally, have you spent much
shall
time
we
in Altspace since the
return
conference?
to Zoom?
Not at all. I'm definitely not
So
one
you
of
could
those
probably
people
hear me
that
saying what I'm
engages very
typing.
deeply with technology
Because
outside of
you
my
appear to
job.
be muted.
I work at Microsoft and I spend all day like staring at screens. So
Yeah.
my preferred activities are like
I don't know. He just has that
much
nice
more
placid
like
expression in those
cooking and
big gray
relaxing
eyes.
and going
And
to the gym
let
and
me see if he's
hugging
going to
my
eye
cat
track me.
and trying to
Let's
spend
wait
more
another.
time outdoors
Greg
while
says,
I'm
let's wait another
comfortable,
5 minutes or so. I don't know
all
what's
those
going on
kinds
with
of
my
things.
audio. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We have you to
Yep.
thank for this, and so thank you very much. It changed our lives.
I will
So
never go back
you
to
rule.
Thank you very much, Allie.
Matt says
It's
I will
awesome.
never go back. That's okay,
It
Matt.
was
You don't
just
have to
such a
come
group
back. You can stay
effort,
here.
and I'm just like
You can
so
stay here all by
happy
yourself
and proud
in
that
the
it all came together. So like,
I'm
thanks.
drunk on all space.
Thank you for saying thank you, but also
Yeah, I
like,
thought
thank you to
the
everyone else for
presentation
showing
that
up
was
and doing
fun.
all
It was
those
nice.
things.
I think we
That's-
It's the new
that's
world, you know.
space. Give them an idea
Yeah.
of what it was.
And I think we had the
It was great having
like
that
one of the
video
better
too, because I think that really
experiences
does
possible
give a nice
like
little
out of all the
glimpse.
conferences
And
that
I don't know if
exist
Scott Selfon
this
showed
year.
up. Did he?
So
Yeah.
that's a
No,
really good
I mean,
benefit.
I didn't see him. I
And
don't
it's
think
as
he
bad
made
as
it.
it will ever be.
I'm looking
That's the
for.
nice thing too about evolution.
I'm curious.
Is it'll
so
never
this
be
is
worse
Mike
than
Bachman
this.
right here to my left, and I'm curious
Oh, Mike.
how our Zoom stream.
Okay,
our,
I think
YouTube
I'm gonna-
stream is gonna read.
I'm going to leave and go back
So-
to Zoom, I think. So just,
Oh, okay.
Lawrence, I'm going to go back to Zoom.
You do that, Steve. We'll join you shortly. I just talked to Greg
Okay.
through telepathic communication, and he said that we were going to all sort of reconvene in Zoom shortly. So maybe in another minute.
Sounds good. All right. See you, everybody.
Cool.
I think
See you,
he's-
Steve.
It's so weird.
I
He's
guess.
not saying anything. He's just looking at us like.
As I was
I would say,
participating to
use your
many
hands,
meetings
Greg.
in 3GPP,
Come on,
I
use
was
sign
basically
language.
talking,
Jess, do you spend much time in Altspace?
Yeah, you could use your head.
pandemic started, everything went
Well, the conference
I
was
won't
my
do-
first
there we go.
experience, and then
There
I
we
did
go.
Burning
There he
Man.
goes,
And
there he
since
goes. Okay.
then,
Yeah, you
He's
can
still
at least
alive.
give.
Still in
I've
there.
decided
At least you can give us a yes or
I'm gonna
no.
throw
So
my
Yeah.
birthday
Yeah.
party.
And
in
if I had
November.
to
Send
choose,
it.
so
I just sent it.
to some extent
And,
it was a
Okay.
nice
Builder at Burning
I'm
Man.
looking
nice
for
thing
it.
that this
Did you receive the message?
There we go.
That's
It's,
cool, man.
Despite-
It's, really, it's fun in here because we do get an international crowd. Were you at the Sylvia Massey meeting then? Is that were you at that one?
Going to
So,
Mhm.
The
No,
last
just from numbers standpoint, I
see
think
about
they
that.
had-
no, I don't
So I
know.
was trying to build my own world.
Yeah, we had a
but-
big
And,
crowd.
Yeah, what's
Curious
his
what
name?
it was.
Dan.
I'm still
Dan
such a
was
newbie,
talking
and,
about
like, I'm not
having
trying to stress
gone
out
to
my
some of that.
birthday, you know.
Yeah,
Dan.
he didn't. I don't
Right.
think he had a
Right.
particularly good experience. He seemed
Right.
Totally,
and it's
totally.
really, I
So,
realize that our entire
but
usage
really,
of this
I
has
could
all
only
been
jump in maybe like
in
an hour
as
or
private
so,
events,
and it's
right?
definitely not
You know, we're
every
not
day.
we're not
You know, I
doing the
check out what
public
events
thing, and
That's
as
right,
soon
they
as you
weren't
do it,
public.
it's
and,
Yeah.
it's
I
it's a really
will
different thing. As soon as you do the public,
interested, so I get the
you know,
notification, but
the
then
public
kind of
thing, it's like.
Much
Ah,
bigger
well,
management issues.
Right. I mean, you have to just deal with it differently. And in fact, just over the weekend, I was testing and I popped into a few events just to see, and there was
Yeah.
it was kind of cool. I mean, there's a gal, you know, she was basically like open mic, and there she was playing her guitar, and she was playing her guitar and singing, you know, and it was like she was just, it was like
Did they present
genuine.
a video then of that, or how did that work?
No, it was just her avatar, and I don't know. I guess I can't remember now. I didn't stay long because the music wasn't that good. But the fact that she was doing it, that it worked, and there were people there and saying, giving her encouragement and all. I mean, the idea of this space as a music performance venue, you know, I mean, think about
I'd
it.
really
I
like
mean,
to know more about that too, and see what what's happening.
yeah, I mean, ultimately you'd have to.
Hi, Greg.
I would think you'd
Yeah.
want to do something that was more sophisticated from the avatar
you there, Greg?
standpoint.
You know what I think would be
Yeah.
really
Greg,
good for this space
Greg,
So what is it that you
is
do,
an
Dan?
open
really
mic
cool that
poetry
it's even an
recitation
option these days, like,
Ooh,
thing.
yeah, that could be.
Wouldn't
That
that be
you're
fun?
right. That would be.
here and doing stuff.
All right.
With the virus, we haven't worked since
Send a message out to
February
all and tell
29th.
them that we're going back to Zoom. Have we had enough? Okay, he says yes. I'm going to send a message to all
I
here.
just made people like
Okay,
schedule, like,
folks,
Facebook
let's
video calls with me.
go
Or
back
go to coffee if
to
they lived- if they
Zoom
lived, like,
Flatland.
locally.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
All right, Matt, and I know you're not going to join us, so thank you so much for
downloading
participating in
and
this, and it's great
Yeah,
to
it was
see
fun.
you. Really fun. Yeah, good. Okay,
See
I'm
you.
gonna head back. Yeah, guys, I'm headed back to Zoom.
Yeah.
So see you
No,
back there.
thank you. That's an
gonna tell the girls.
awesome
Great job,
idea.
you
I'm
guys.
gonna add that in my.
Oh,
next
that's Bill, right? Yeah, Billy
alert to
Bang Bang.
folks.
Yeah.
Billy
So
Bang
you
Bang.
go, Billy Bang Bang. You head back to Zoom.